Welcome, everybody, to episode 27 of the Dual Boot Diaries, the weekly podcast where two longtime Windows users try to learn to use Linux daily. I'm one of your co-hosts, Adam.
I'm your other co-host, Will, and we're not Linux experts. We say this every week, but it's important to reinforce that because sometimes I think people in the comments maybe don't appreciate that. Each week we go through our experiences of using Linux daily, and the whole show culminates theoretically in us deleting one or both of our partitions, maybe moving into the woods and moving on with our lives and away from computers entirely.
Or we have breaking news. Maybe we buy one of those new $600 MacBooks and just... Mac OS for the masses. You didn't hear about that?
No,
it's all over the internet right now as the day of we're recording this.
About a $600 MacBook?
Yeah, it's like the cheapest MacBook you can get. It's like a MacBook Chromebook, I guess.
It's a MacBook for the rest of us.
Yeah, look at that. Steve Jobs rolling over in his grave. Maybe we should all just switch to Mac.
So I was looking at M1 MacBook prices because my daughter's laptop's getting a little long in the tooth and she needs it for school. And I was like, maybe I'll buy her a used like M1 or M2 MacBook. And they hold price incredibly well, it turns out. They do not, like, used ones are not super inexpensive despite being like 4 years old at this point.
Especially the M series, I would imagine. Like you step 1 year back to the very last Intel one, and
nobody wants
can probably get that for dirt cheap.
Well, so on the Mac Mini side, I priced them out because of the Blue Bottles thing, and to get something that runs whatever the latest version of Mac OS that you need to get like the full text message, iMessage experience with Blue Bottles was like $300-$400, I think. But also you could get 1 year older than that, and they were like $55 for the Mac Mini. So it's like kind of an okay little home lab box if you don't mind dealing with Mac OS, I guess. So
yeah, well, it sounds like more and more people are also dealing with Windows 11.
I don't think that's true.
It's true.
Nope.
I have a link down in the description. There was a new report recently from Tom's Hardware, when Tom's Hardware says that Windows 11 continues to gain traction and hit 75% market share. Now, they're pulling the numbers mainly from a website called, Stat Counter by Global Stats. I've seen this before. I'll put this link in the description as well. It's an interesting chart kind of plotting out the market share. I don't know how they report these numbers, whatever.
It's based on web traffic, if I recall.
Oh, okay. But like at some point, what was this? June 2025, there was a crossover between Windows 10 and Windows 11.
They kissed.
Yeah, that like finally, Windows 11 has pretty much crossed over. And then it kind of plateaued for the rest of the year, and then all of a sudden the past month or two, like it just shot up like crazy. Like Windows 10 like is finally on the way out, I guess. Like in hard numbers. My
assumption is that Microsoft did the "Hey, your computer's at risk" pop up on Windows 10 installs.
They've been doing that for a while, though.
Yeah, but look, they've been A/B testing for a long time, and they finally found one that really hits. This number tends to squiggle up and down a fair amount too, based on how people use computers and like, the February, maybe more people were. I don't know. It's a big jump. I've never seen a jump this big on one of these graphs before. So it's a remarkable change. Now, I do want to point out Windows 7 also saw the last 3.8% of its market share erode in that same month. So,
dang it.
Yeah, the last of the goat.
Hanging on for dear life.
Yeah. The interesting thing here, they don't have Linux on this chart at all. I just don't see it. There's other dotted, but I think it's invisible. I can't see the line. So
well, but also I think this chart itself is desktop Windows version market share. So this is only reporting Windows. There is a Mac OS. If you scroll down under the chart, you can view by other operating systems. There's Mac OS, iOS, Android, and that's it. So they're not even reporting, I guess, on Linux.
If you go to operating system market share worldwide, then you have Android number 1, 36.02, Windows 32%, iOS 17%, Unknown 7.85%, and OS 10 3.4%, and Linux 1.36. Kind of a little bit of a dip this month too, if I'm being real.
Well, a little bit of a dip. It looks like the peak was January last year, 1.93, and then down to 1.36. That's actually kind of a sharp decline.
Yeah, like I said,
going back to October numbers.
I don't read too much into these things. I feel like unknown is probably also a big chunk of Linux or something else too.
Well, but also unknown is tracking up hard.
That could be like maybe people bought a bunch of LG TVs. It's impossible to say.
or Wii's. Maybe they're connecting their old Wii's back to the internet.
Yeah, somebody found a cache of Wii browser disks and started jamming them into old Wii's, and they're doing some hot 480p browsing. But that's not Linux. I mean, I guess
true.
Kind of
well, but I mean, to go back to the OS 10 thing, I guess I haven't seen this chart specifically, so I guess I'll put this link in the chart for the operating systems worldwide. I thought OS 10 would have been bigger, and like this thing has gone down. Like, looks like the peak was November 2023 at like 9.3%, and now it's down at 3.4%. Like, that's a big decline.
Remember, if this is based on web traffic, if this is based on data from web statistics packages reporting back OSs, that other is probably crawlers. The unknown is probably like AI, OpenAI, and Anthropic crawlers, which by all reports are killing small websites right now just by bombarding them with traffic constantly. So that would be that increase aligns with that, and like the bumps when like OpenAI does a big scan of the web. I don't read too, like, if they're counting those numbers into the 100%, it's going to impact the other numbers as well, because like they're going to go up and down as a result of that scraper number going up. So like I said, I wouldn't read too much into this.
I mean, it's always interesting to look at charts and graphs, right?
Yeah, I love a graph.
But I mean, I didn't create a slideshow for what I've been working on, or any charts
should I do that
graphs
next week?
Or pie charts. Yeah, maybe you should be like, how much of your time spent was dealing with Neri? That's going to be the biggest part of the pie, right?
Goose egg, baby.
Nope. That's going to be like 99%. It's going to look like Pac-Man. Then the other percentage is just going to be the rest of the stuff.
What it'll be is then there's a bigger circle. It's like time saved by tiling window manager, and then that other little circle is just a dot inside that big giant circle.
Wrong.
Saving so much time.
All right. Well, tell me what you've been working on, Will.
Okay,
because I want to know.
I've resolved from some longstanding issues. I've had some wins. I've had some dubs. I've taken some L's. I've taken a big step as a human being, contributing to the larger community. But let's start with the easy dubs. I got DaVinci Resolve fixed. There was I talked about it last week, I think briefly, but there was an X Wayland satellite bug that basically, when you were dragging stuff around inside the DaVinci UI, like, so if you drug, say, if you had the media bin open and you had all your files in there, and then you drug a file into the timeline and you drug it slow, it would work. But if you went too fast, it would crash. And apparently what was happening was DaVinci was sending updates too quickly for the Wayland satellite, which is a thing that like converts X Windows to Wayland for different compositors. And it was sending them too fast for that. It bugged out. So they released an update for that in December. The X Wayland satellite team released an update for that, and it just hadn't been packaged for Arch until like literally this morning. I checked last night. It wasn't there. I checked this morning. I updated before we started. It works now. I can run DaVinci Resolve. So that's pretty exciting.
Wow. Was that the only issue? I thought you had one other issue going on.
So the other issue I fixed a long time ago. The other issue was I had to add a flag to my Neri config to like say, hey, use this for this. And that was fine. That same bug fixed some jittering in the UI that I had before. I didn't know that those were both related, but basically it was both. This was a problem because I think DaVinci Resolve is an X app that runs on Wayland kind of, but you have to it's basically a translation layer issue is what it sounds like. So that's good.
Well, because real quick, DaVinci, and I can't remember because I looked a while ago. When you go to download the Linux version, what does it natively support? So
they package, I think, Debs, and they would support something weird in addition to Ubuntu.
Rocky Linux and
Rocky.
CentOS.
Well, Rocky is a Debian or Ubuntu specific version of Debian or Ubuntu.
Yeah,
I think.
I don't know.
But anyway, yeah. So that's working. Pretty stoked about that. I think now that it's actually working, I'm going to buy a copy because I've been kind of waiting because it has been a little janky.
You've been mostly using the free version?
Yeah, I will say, so I've been mostly using the free version on Windows because it wasn't working on Linux. I haven't actually tested it at all because it literally the patch dropped and I rebooted just before I got on the call here today. So I opened it up and drug the window around. I was like, oh, it works. Okay. So now we'll find out what's broken next, I guess. Okay. So that's good. I had a little bit of an L on Friday. I started up the stream machine to do my Friday night stream. And I got actually this might have been on Monday, but anyway, it worked on Friday. Monday, I opened it up and it was like, hey, OBS Enhanced Broadcasting doesn't support your video card. And I was like, wait, what?
Which is currently an AMD GPU.
Currently an AMD GPU. Worked fine for the last 2-3 weeks.
Was there an update for the system, or
OBS hasn't updated? The system hasn't updated. I think it's something on the Twitch Enhanced Broadcasting side. So I think that OBS sends them information about your system, then they send information back, and there's something in that conversation that's not working right. So I got to get to the bottom. That's on my homework for next week.
Do you have a Twitch rep that you can talk to, or no?
I used to. I don't know that I do anymore. I'm not that big a deal over there these days. I don't know if you.
You're a big deal to me.
I appreciate that, but if anybody has any ideas on that, I would welcome suggestions because I like the documentation for this enhanced broadcasting stuff is really bad. I think I can go into the Twitch. I'm a member in the Twitch Partners Discord with the other 50,000 partners or whatever it is, so I can probably go ask over there, and they typically will bump me up to somebody who can help with stuff. So.
And that's especially annoying that it was working and then immediately, just randomly, nope, it's not working anymore.
It wouldn't surprise me if I fire it up next time and it just works. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, what's your fallback? What did you do?
I did 1440p 60 at 10 megabits, and that was all I sent, and nobody complained.
Oh, you just didn't do the
I just didn't do the multiple streams.
Thing.
So the people on TVs and phones don't get fast encodes, basically.
Okay. Honestly, though, I thought you were going to say you had to boot into Windows or something, but that's not a bad fallback. No.
And honestly, the Twitch Enhanced Broadcasting stuff prohibits you from doing things like streaming to YouTube or other platforms, like multi-streaming. So in reality, it's funny. Somebody asked a few weeks ago if I was going to try out the Blue Sky. There's an AT protocol Twitch.
I remember that
clone type thing. Somebody asked if I was going to support that, so I might actually fire up the multicasting plugin and try sending to both of those and see what it's like. See if I get people watching over on Blue Sky, or on the AT.
I'll be curious to hear how that goes, because on the Full Nerd we actually used to use. It was one of those services where you would actually send the stream up to the cloud, and the cloud
Restream.io or something like that.
It was Restream, yeah. And so, early on at Full Nerd days, we broadcast to Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook back when Facebook was pushing live video. And we just dropped off because it was kind of hard to monitor all of them, so we just put everything on YouTube. But I do wonder now if that's different, if we should be streaming again to other places. But
I think I think on game stuff it makes sense to stream to Twitch. I don't know that the talk show category for non-gaming content is particularly big on Twitch, but honestly, it may be a situation where we're missing audience because a lot of people live in their ecosystems and don't leave their ecosystem, so it's maybe worth experimenting with. It'd be easy enough to do.
Can you stupid question, can you broadcast to Discord?
You can do audio into Discord through those stages things.
Through their
stages.
But it's only audio?
It's only audio. You can broadcast into channels, but channels have an upper limit of viewers of 128, I think, into the voice channels, voice and video channels. But also those people can all talk when they're in those channels. So that might be bad for the health of the call.
Yeah.
That's not exactly what you want.
It'd be curious because we actually do have a number of people on the Full Nerd, and sorry, we're crossing the streams here.
We're doing Full Nerd stuff. Work here.
Yeah. But there are a number of people who watch on YouTube, but have the chatter in Discord. They don't participate in the YouTube chat. So yeah. Trying to find other audiences. Yeah. But anyway, we should get back to it. But maybe we would just run it on Linux.
Maybe just run it on Linux. Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, I made a case when we rebuilt the Office Stream Machine to put that thing on Linux, and you were like, "Oh hell no!" And I was like, "Well, okay, coward, that's fine."
I mean, that was under a different day, so yeah, things are changing. So you know what?
Yeah,
let's do it.
Who knows? Yeah, I mean, I will say that Stream Machine has reached. Like I managed to I saved sessions so that like when it fires up, it just has OBS big on one side and my bot running big on the other side. Mm-hmm. The only stuff I have to do to make that appliancey that I can just control it entirely with my Stream Decks from the other machine now is to set some like shutdown scripts on it. And like that's basically everything. Like I just need to write a script that closes OBS like nicely so it doesn't pop up the "Hey man, OBS crashed last time you ran it. You sure you want to start it with plugins?" And then I'll have a turn on the machine, make sure my monitor is turned on for the thing from the main computer, because I usually turn the third display off, the one that goes to the capture card, and then hit the go live button, and I can go live without mouse and keyboard or anything on that machine, which is quite nice.
So I totally forgot, what distro are you using on that Streambox?
That's Cache, but it's the KDE Plasma version.
Okay. Because my other thought too, not to rebuild everything, but like you could maybe to further make it an appliance, like find a more stable distro, like a LTS version or something, that if that worked. So I did then you wouldn't get rolling updates.
I did that originally. I originally had let's see, Ubuntu Studio on it.
Which is Studio,
the content creator version of the OS. The challenge there is that the features that I use in OBS need to be relatively current, because like getting both Twitch enhanced broadcast and browser support and the VLC plugin, all of which I use on the reg, was challenging on the OBS Studio version of OBS, because they were on like, I think the current version of OBS is like 32 point something. Is that right? 32.0.4. And OBS Studio was on 30, I think 30.2 or 30.02 or something like that. It was like two main versions back, which is like going back in time to 2021 probably. It was old.
It's not that bad.
It was old versions of the software.
Right.
Anyway.
Okay. Anyway, yeah.
So that was the L. I took the L there. I did not have time to take apart that framework laptop, but that's on my list for next week again. I made my first pull request, Adam. I'm a contributor.
Congratulations. You're contribute. So you have your name somewhere?
It's on the GitHub for the Liquid Control software, which is used on both Windows and Linux. Fan Control has a plugin for Liquid Control that lets you get your AIO temperatures for like NZXT and some other fan AIOs. And I was looking at support for I have that Asus Ryujin 3 AIO, 360 AIO. But it's white. It's important to note that it's the white one. It has a screen. They supported Ryujin 2. And then somebody about 6 months ago was like, "Hey, it looks like the Ryujin 3 is exactly the same like protocol to talk to it as the Ryujin 2. So we just need to add hardware IDs and set the kind of the range of the controls for things like the fan. So okay, step back. This AIO reports temperature. It reports the radiator, the pump speed. You can change the pump speed, and you can
temperature of the what? The liquid?
Of the liquid.
Okay.
It also has a fan that mounts in the kind of head unit that goes on top of the CPU slot to blow air around the VRMs and stuff like that. That fan is, if you run that fan at full speed, it runs at like 6,000 RPMs, and it sounds like a jet engine. It's really, really loud. Yeah. So you want to be able to control that. And I had been, and it's not plugged into like a fan header or something. You control it with the Asus software in Windows. That wasn't obviously working for me here. So I opened up the Ryujin, the module for the Ryujin controller, and I looked at it and I was like, oh, they have a bunch of Ryujin 3 things here. They all have the same information in them. What if I just pull the USB ID for my AIO? We talked about this last week. What if I just pull the USB ID for my AIO and put a new entry in this file for that? and then try it out. And it worked until Liquid Control updated, and then it wiped out my changes. So I was like, okay, this is a pain in the butt. And at first I was like, what if I just tell, Pac-Man not to ever update this again and it'll be fine? And I was like, that's a valid solution for the problem. But then I was like, what if I do a little tiny bit and contribute back to the community? So I went and looked. First, I went to the Discord for this project, and there were like 5 people in there, and they were very nice. I was like, hey, I've got this working on my machine. Can I just submit a pull request to submit it to the thing? And they're like, yeah, just submit a pull request. We'll add it in next time we do an update. And I was like, okay, cool. And of course, I went and Googled how do you submit a pull request, because who knows how to make a pull request.
That was actually going to be one of my questions.
Yeah, because I was like, I went to the pull request page for the project and I hit create a pull request. And it was like, oh yeah, dog, you can't do that here. You got to do some other stuff. So I forked. I went to the page on GitHub for the project and I forked it. I made my own copy on my GitHub. And then I synced up a folder on my hard drive with that copy, with my repo fork of Liquid Control. And I made the changes. And then I went and looked at somebody else's pull request, and they had made a bunch of changes to other stuff that I didn't know what it did. And I read about that a little bit and figured out what that stuff did. So I added things like UDEV rules for that USB ID. I added some entries in the documentation and stuff like that. And then I tested it. And it worked, and I committed my changes to the repo. I had my changes to the repo, committed them up to my version of the repo, and then I went and hit the create pull request button again. It was like, oh yeah, you have a fork of this in your repo. Do you want to use this repo as the thing? It was like, it has 3 commits that are ahead, meaning newer than what's in the Liquid Control repository. So I hit the button and I filled out all their documentation. I checked some boxes, and as of this morning at like 9:00, I've contributed code that's shipping in the tiniest, just to be clear, the itsy bitsiest piece of code. That's shipping in the Liquid Control repository.
It's more than I could ever imagine doing. So yeah, congrats, hats off to you.
I'm going to tell you, not as hard as I expected. It was much more Googling, hey, how do you do GitHub stuff? Than anything else, right? I was like, okay, I fork this on the web UI, and then I copy that down, and then I sync it up, and so that part was actually the hard part, it turns out.
Well, and then like my next question was going to be, why is it called a pull request? Because they're essentially pulling the changes you made from your version.
I'm saying, hey,
putting it into theirs.
Will you pull this code into your project? Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing filthy.
So, but somebody still needs to confirm that request. Once the request is put in to pull from you, so like a physical person has to be like, oh, you know what? They made some changes. Let's go ahead and bring this in.
So the person who maintains the project looked at it and was like, oh, this is one of these. This is an easy one. And
this is one of these.
Yeah. Well, because here's the thing. There's 2 types of like adding new hardware to this thing. And just to be clear, it doesn't support the screen still. This is only for pump control, liquid temperature, and fan control. So
arguably the important stuff.
Yeah, it makes me wonder why I have one with a goofy screen in my thing. Maybe I should just pull something else out. Anyway, doesn't matter. The point is it's working. But there are other types of AIOs when somebody does a new one that requires like installing Wireshark and sniffing the USB data stream to figure out what's going on in the protocol. That's not something I can help with. But if we have more of these Ryujins in the office, I can plug them in and get the USB IDs and add them all so they're all supported by Liquid Control. Which again, if you're using that Liquid Control plugin for fan control, that means that theoretically, in addition to the Ryujin 2 and the Ryujin 3 Extreme and EVA edition, now the Ryujin 3 White edition will be supported as well. You're welcome, America.
Will.
Yeah. Hey.
Not only do we have a number of AIOs in the office just sitting there in boxes, vendors are always very excited to send AIOs. Yeah. So maybe this just becomes your thing. Maybe you become like the top contributor to Liquid Control.
Yeah, that's just what I was hoping for.
Yeah, you get like a badge or something being like, oh yeah, well, look at this top contributor. For some reason, this guy just has dozens of AIOs sitting around.
He loves AIOs, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because like, as I was doing this, I was like, I could just, for $100, I could just buy an Arcticool 360 that's probably like, it's a thicker radiator. It's probably going to do a better job cooling my business. But I'm also on a 9800 X3D, and it doesn't get hot. So like, yeah. Anyway, but yeah. So I've contributed. I've in addition to submitting bugs, now I've contributed. Yeah,
you are an expert.
I'm getting there.
I want to be
Baby
you when
steps.
I grow up.
One day, Adam. You just need to grow that beard out. Ask Lindsay what she thinks about that.
I know, right? Yeah.
So yeah, that's my big stuff. That's my stuff for this week. I think it's been a kind of like we're in those weeks between DICE and GDC, and I do a lot of work with game studios. So it's been a busy couple of weeks. I haven't had as much time to futz with Linux as I normally do. So.
Oh yeah, this is the first GDC. So if people don't know, that's a game developer conference. Happens here in San Francisco.
DICE, for folks who don't know, is the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences, which is like the game development kind of Oscar. Like it's kind of like the Academy for Film, like that does the Oscars is for games, and they do. It's called the DICE Summit, and it's basically like. If GDC is for developers who want to learn new stuff, and there are definitely business tracks and stuff like that there, DICE is where a lot of deals get done. So it's like where the business development people and the scouts and the people who decide whether to publish games and stuff like that all get together in Vegas for like a 3-day period and sit around in a bar in a hotel in Vegas. And like it's basically like the secret cabal that determines the future of the games industry every year in February. So.
But you don't go to DICE traditionally.
I have been to DICE in the past. I only go usually if there's something I'm specifically pitching, and I didn't have anything to pitch this year that was willing to pay me to go to DICE. So
got it. Okay, but you do usually go to.
Yeah,
you usually do go to GDC because it's literally right here in our backyard.
Yeah, it's it takes it takes an extra 20 minutes to get downtown. So I'll be at DICE next week, I think, if people are around.
GDC.
GDC. If people want to talk about help getting your game published or helping with comms on games, let me know. I'm available. So
there you go.
Yeah.
But it also makes me think this is the first GDC that you've gone to that now you are a Linux person. I do wonder how many people around there are you can relate to. You can be like, hey, you know what? Look, I can tell you're running Linux. I run Linux. I've submitted a pull request.
Yeah. I'm going to wear my Microsoft shirt for sure. That's
of course, yeah.
Both days I'll just wash it. That's the.
You should bring some with you just in case anyone says, "Hey, where did you get that?" You can be like, "Oh, you can buy yours right now."
Okay. Cash on the barrelhead, baby.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But it does make me wonder, like, do you have any sense of how many game developers use Linux?
So it's interesting because that story went around earlier this week, actually, from I don't want to say it was a sketchy site, but it was a site that I've never heard of before that detailed Microsoft's plans for Windows 12. Did you see this last night?
No.
So
doesn't sound familiar?
So they basically said agentic subscription only, AI first, OS, and you have to have an NPU to be able to use it. It's coming next year. And people were losing their minds, and then everybody started looking at the site, and they were like, "This is what is free games for Windows?" Or
yeah, this is a rumor, right?
It's a rumor, yeah.
Got it. Yeah, okay. I did hear about this. Yeah.
Techforgamers.com is the URL, and like no knock against the Tech for Gamers folks, but
sounds legit.
I mean, they do reference a PCWorld story, Windows 12 rumors, features, pricing rumors, everything we know so far, written by one Thomas Juice.
From PCWorld, or German editorial team.
But yeah, so it got people in kind of a tizzy. And like the number of people who were like, yeah, I've been actually doing my game dev work on Linux for the last 6 months now was pretty high. People were talking about the engine software running really well. Like Unreal runs generally pretty well, especially if you're on a pretty standard environment like KDE or something like that. If you're working in a studio where your art pipeline goes through Blender. So one of the things people I think don't maybe know is that typically on games, when you're making game art, especially 3D stuff that's rigged and skinned for movement, like a character model or like a tree that waves or really anything that moves. And even non-moving stuff all goes through the same pipeline. Typically you have an art pipeline where the people who are creating the actual assets can make it in whatever tool they want, Blender or Max, Maya, whatever their tool, Fusion. If they're, I mean, I don't think anybody uses Fusion, but I'm sure somebody somewhere has used Fusion to make game assets. And then on a studio, like on an indie thing, everybody just does their own thing, and that's fine. But if you're on a bigger studio, then typically there's a machine someplace or a person someplace whose job it is to bring those assets into Maya or Blender or whatever, and then package them up in the way that the game engine is going to understand them and put them in the right place so that the game engine sees them the next time you reinitialize that project. And then that asset's in the game. And for the last 20 years, that tool has been almost exclusively Maya, with a handful of places that use 3D Studio Max until like the last 5 or 6 years. Now a lot of studios that are building out, and typically this is one of those things you do in what's called pre-production. So like you've built a game, you have a pitch for a game, you've built maybe a prototype, and you've gotten money from somebody, and then you actually start working on two things simultaneously. One is building the pipeline for art assets and engine to get the stuff that you make into the game in a constructive and stable and standardized way. The other is that you're prototyping the game mechanics, right? You're figuring out how the game actually works and stuff like that. So those two things are happening usually simultaneously in pre-production. And usually by the time you're done with pre-production, you have that pipeline locked in. You typically don't change that pipeline once you're in actual production, because it has some enormous expensive downstream costs. But a lot of games that are doing pre-production now, especially from smaller studios, are using Blender as that ingest point rather than Maya, which is interesting for two things. One, Blender's open source; it's been around for a really long time. But the last couple of revs have been regarded really, really well, especially by games industry folks. The other thing is, Maya is a really expensive piece of software. It's thousands of dollars per year per seat. So like there's an actual measurable cost savings if your entire 3D art team doesn't have to have these expensive Maya seats. And if Blender is actually just as good, like there's a thing that happens with open source software. We talked about this on the FOSS-Pod, and Brad and I have talked about it on the TechPod a lot. But eventually, as contributions increase, eventually the open source software crosses over in functionality and reliability and stability, the closed source thing. We saw that like with OBS 10 years ago, 15 years ago, because like the velocity on OBS early on was so fast that it was better than XSplit like 6 months into its life. Like it was, two niche softwares, and one of them suddenly opened the door for everybody streaming on Twitch, and the other one was charging $120 a year for something that most people looked at as a kind of hobby to futz around with. And anyway, so yeah, Blender's having a moment is the TLDR there.
Yeah, interesting. Well, but you've also said on the other side that a lot of game dev does like Mac OS, like so they're not necessarily on Windows anyway.
A lot of especially lo-fi stuff like pixel art 2D things, there's a divide between people who are making like big 3D games, from like big indies, AAA, stuff like that. I'm talking about games with like $5 to $500 million $5 million to $500 million budgets are going to be running those those dev systems will be big metal desktop PCs, right? Or maybe somebody will buy Strix Halo or something like a workstation type laptops. But then mobile and indie games, a lot of indie games, especially 2D pixel games, people can just build on laptops because there's not a lot, like they're not super art intensive. There's not a bunch of light crunching and stuff like that. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, yeah. Maybe we'll have to, whenever that, you said in a couple of weeks, maybe we'll have your GDC report. Did you have any Linux sightings? Yeah,
we'll talk about it maybe next week on this show, but probably the week after for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. What have you been up to? I feel like I've been rambling for a minute here.
Yeah, well, stop rambling, Will, because guess what? We need to get to an ad. This is exactly the place where we put an ad, and I remember this time you didn't. Yeah, no. Right now. So we'll be back right after this ad break. Cool.
Man, what a good ad that was, Adam.
Oh,
wow.
I'm not going to say it was the best because we don't know what it was actually, but it was there. It was an ad.
Hopefully it was something that appealed to you and was not offensive. That's what we're
and
hoping
if it was,
for
let us
here.
know, please.
Yeah, please. Yeah. Like for real, do let us know.
Definitely. Anyway, Will,
what have you been up to?
I talked to you before we
You seem like you're a little down, Adam.
I mean, for plenty of reasons, yes.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in a poopy mood, but especially with the Linux stuff, like I feel like I'm in a down spot, and to be fair, this is a making of my own creation.
Yep. You asked
but
for
on
it.
the flip side, on the flip side, I think this does still point to like it just not always just working, right? Like I think I've gotten a lot of hate, rightfully so, and I get it. But also, I think people are missing the point sometimes of what I'm trying to do here. Is that like I think in order for Linux to thrive and get people away from Windows or whatever, is to have just have it work. Right? Just get to a spot where it's like, oh, I just want this thing to do this simple stuff, whether it's the onboarding process, whether it's getting your applications, whether it's security, whether it's whatever, a number of things. Like just giving that ease of use, I feel like is what a lot of people always point towards with Linux, to be like, you know what, you got to know what you're doing, and you got to noodle around. And for the most part in this journey, I've definitely been like, oh wow, no, this is, especially if you're doing really basic stuff, this actually can be really easy, and it depends on your setup or what you're actually going to be doing, what distro you pick. I mean, that whatever. Like there's complications and pain points along the way, and I feel like that's my role here, is to try to poke at a lot of these things and be like, okay, as a noob, and I know I'm not the noobiest of noob, like I'm not like my grandma, right? But I'm also not. I'm nowhere near your level, and I'm nowhere near a lot of our people in the audience level kind of thing. And so being able to just have something that just works without doing a ton of futzing is what I'm hoping to find. And guess what? Maybe I will need to do some futzing, and I've figured out some stuff. But at the end of the day, like I feel like I keep getting so many messages of people being like, well, I mean, you just need to do this. You're complaining about something when it's such an easy fix. All you got to do is this and this, and it's like, yeah, but like that's not how you get people on. Is to be like, oh yeah, if you run into a problem, you need to make sure you do some futzing, because the thing is that like a lot of people who are on Windows, they already know how to use that. If you're going to try to tell them not only to relearn a new operating system, which grantedly is not that hard, but then be like, oh, if you run into a problem, you just gotta work through it. Like, don't just throw your hands up and give up.
It's weird, and this might be a generational thing, because like that's how computers used to be, right? Like when I got my first computer in 1992, like something. Like it was more of a surprise when something worked the way I expected to than when it didn't. Like when I got it to print, I was like, wow, I've really done some business here. And I mean, it is worth mentioning, I don't have this computer hooked up to the printer that's 3 feet to my left, but I also don't have to print very often, so it's not really an issue. But the like it is, for me, this feels very analogous, not even to the 90s era computing, but like to the early 2000s, when it's like, it's usually like, for me, for my experience has been that usually stuff just kind of works, right? And it may not be exactly as good as I want, or maybe there may be some sort of problem or something like that, but it's unusual that I hit something that actually just out and out fails to do the thing that I want it to do. Now, the place I get into trouble is when I look at it and I'm like, oh, well, seems like it's running slow. I bet something's not right. And then I start digging in and I'm like, oh God, this is an enormous rabbit hole. And then like the experience I had with Resolve, for example, where it just was crashing because of a compositor problem, was the first time that's happened to me, I think. And most of the other things I've hit have been kind of quality of life issues, but it is definitely hitting the same parts of my brain that like trying to play games on Windows NT4 or Windows 2000 back 25 years ago hit. Like it's a hobby car, not a Corolla.
Well, and I'm not saying this is a bad thing, because I have learned more about how operating systems work than, decades of my life, for sure. And so I am appreciating it, but I will come across things I'm like, it doesn't need to be that hard. Also, when I think about my Linux journey, like a lot of this started because of the Steam Deck. Yeah. And a lot of the people who were able to enjoy PC gaming for the first time was because, guess what? The Steam Deck worked as easy as a console. And like, not that I was like, oh yeah, finally I can get into it, because whatever, I've been a PC gamer. I've used handhelds with Windows and can use them just fine, even where people like don't even like that. But it's like the Steam Deck proves that one of the best ways to get people into the Linux ecosystem and feel okay being able to make that jump and that decision is because they took a lot of the stuff out of it. If you wanted to dig in deeper, then you could, but it was optional. I think is the other part. Yeah, but it was optional. Like it worked, and if you wanted to dig in, you could. Like I'm not saying it should be like more like constrained like Mac OS or I guess I should say like a console, right? Like a console, it just works, and then you can't really get any deeper. Yeah. At least with SteamOS, you could, do deeper stuff to it. And so I think a lot of that, what I've been trying to figure out is like, okay, well, how do I make it work like that? Whether it's my desktop, my laptop, my home theater PC, my handheld, what's the easiest way to get in there and have it work? And if I want to add something to it, then okay, cool, I can dig deeper into it. But like if stuff at the very beginning is just not working, and then like in order for me to play a game or whatever, like I have to go in there and fix things. Like it's just like, oh, come on, guys. Like, yeah. So anyway,
I mean, have you considered? Maybe you should go back to Pop OS. Back to distro hop a little bit more. Get back into something that's a little easier and a a little friendlier, maybe.
Well, I mean, yeah. So like
Fedora got you blue.
This is to say, that especially on the handheld stuff, and I know I talked about it here a little bit. I've talked about it, or I've started to talk about it, and I want to talk about it more on the new handheld gaming podcast that I have with Russ from Retro Game Core called Expedition Handheld.
We call it for short.
Yeah, exactly. It's just
It's a good podcast. That first episode's a banger, by the way.
Yeah,
everybody should listen to it.
Like for me, I was trying to load up different versions of different distros that have handheld modes to be like, oh, sweet. How well does it work out of the gate kind of thing. And maybe I did it wrong because I did use something that was fairly new hardware wise. Maybe I should go back and retry this with an older piece of hardware. But, the default is usually Bazite or Jazzit or Baked ZD, however you want to call it.
Wait, what's Jazzit? I've never heard that one before.
Jazzite. Maybe I'm trying different pronunciations.
Stop this. No.
But Bazite.
Bazite.
Jazzite. Somebody told me it rhymes with jazz. Bazite. No. It's
Bazite.
Jazz. Bazite. Yeah. Jazzite. Yeah. Perfect. Got it. It's a bit never gets old.
It's like those mean old ladies in Dune. The Jazzerites.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Read on.
Anyway, I think a lot of normies like myself have looked towards Bazite being the de facto of a gaming distro, right? Like, oh, hey, whether you want to put it on a handheld, whether you want to put it on a desktop, to a certain degree, a home theater PC, that is the go-to one. And so that's what led me down this road when somebody was like, oh, hey, did you know that CashOS has a handheld version now, and Nobara has one, and whatever. So I started using these different ones and poking holes at it. And people, like, I definitely got some people who are like, oh, wow, I'm sorry it didn't work out of the box. I'm sorry you're so lazy to enable whatever input plumber to
lazy
make sure
Adam,
that
we call it.
Yeah. But I feel like I'm also doing a service of showing like, oh no, this is where these things just fall down, and you can't expect somebody to install Cache handheld version and then be like, well, oh crap, people told me this would be just like SteamOS and it's not working. What do I do? I'm just going to go back to Windows.
And the handhelds are one of those situations too where the unwieldy nature of the hardware interface means that you're in a little bit of a, like I'm much less likely to want to work on a handheld, honestly, like in terms of like getting into desktop mode and loading up the terminal and doing all the stuff that I will do without thinking about it on a laptop or a desktop, just because the handhelds I have aren't really well suited. Like I guess I could put them into my Steam Deck dock, and then plug a mouse and keyboard and TV into it. Sure. But it feels like a bad experience, right?
Yeah. Well, and kind of like you've been trying to do with your streaming PC is to make something a little bit more like utility, right? Like handhelds, ultimately, you can do other stuff with them, but for the most part, they're there to play games. Yeah. And so if it doesn't just work right out of the box and you have a hard time just getting to playing games, that sucks. It's annoying. And so I've been trying to do that same thing with the home theater PC. I had Bizite on it. It was working good. I figured out lacked and all that kind of stuff. But like I was having the audio issues and the audio stuff just really got under my skin. Like I guess I'm not exactly sure why that audio one specifically got under my skin of like, wow, why is audio just not working right?
Look, the audio stuff is frustrating. I had a thing, and I think I talked about it briefly when we were real early on this, where I changed a setting and then I couldn't figure out how to change it back. And the only way I could fix it was by uninstalling and reinstalling the ALSA mixer and all the dependencies for that. And it it was a huge pain in the butt. If I didn't doing this podcast actually is kind of freeing in that regard, because it gives me an excuse to spend time futzing around with stuff that I normally wouldn't want to waste time on. Right. Like I'm not going to spend 3 hours figuring something out just for me. But when I'm doing it for the podcast and then it's for the show, it makes the show more. I mean, maybe I would.
That's not true. Come on.
Okay. So, some things I would, some things I wouldn't. Some things I would just be like, oh, I'm not going to actually do this. Right. Like this is not worth the time invested to figure this out. Some things I absolutely would dig into, but I probably wouldn't have taken the time to learn how Jack and all that stuff works. Had it not been for the podcast, I would have just done it the old-fashioned way and kept it really as simple as possible.
Well, and maybe I'm also getting too hung up on people, and this has happened a lot, where somebody gets in my ear and is just like, "Oh, hey, did you know there's this other distro? And I haven't had any problems over there. I think you should try this distro." So that's why, yes, I think I mentioned this.
Greener.
I know, right? And maybe I'm too attracted to shiny things. But yeah, so somebody a couple weeks ago was like, "Oh yeah, like you're having these problems with Bizite, but I have Nobara, and it works great. I haven't had any of these problems." And so I was like, "Oh," when I started looking into it, it's got a handheld version, it's got a home theater PC version. Okay, cool, that's great. It's also based off of, like, directly off of Fedora. Mm-hmm. Not only that, it's the guy who created it, or what's the name for somebody who makes
distro
the distro
maintainer.
Distro maintainer. There we go. Thank you. Is Glorious Egg, who does a lot of Proton work.
He does Proton GE builds. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's his distro, I guess. I mean, maybe I have that wrong, but like it sounds like he's the guy who,
he's the one to blame.
This is his
for
distro.
Your problems.
So I was like, oh, okay, this is great. Yeah, I was like, these seem to line up, that it would make sense, and yeah, we should maybe try to reach out to him. And so I don't want to belabor the point here, but I installed Nobara on my home theater PC. Immediately ran into more issues, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm just so.
I mean, I think so. Here's the thing, I don't think you did yourself any favors by doing what's essentially like the newest handheld that's come out.
Well, this also was on my home theater PC.
Oh, well, okay. But the home theater PC, different story. But I think like your wire plumber problems and stuff like that with that Legion Go 2, no knock against Lenovo. Like, it's a small category. Those handhelds have gotten really expensive because of the price of memory and all the other stuff we don't need to get into. Like, I think had that thing come out 6 months ago, you would have seen support for it almost immediately, because people would have gone out and bought them because it's a sweet piece of hardware.
And yeah, like I already recognize I'm going to go back to older stuff, either the Go 1 or the original ROG Ally, and then like try it there, because those have been out for a year and a half, whatever. So for that's different. Specifically for Nobara on the home theater PC thing, because I used the home theater PC installer, everything seemed to work fine, but the biggest first hiccup was controller stuff. And it has I went through the process. I think I maybe talked about this a little bit last week, but the introduction splash page is so easy, and I was like, man, this is great. Things are looking good. It tells you exactly what to start with. It gives you some optional stuff afterward, especially if you're on NVIDIA GPUs, which I'm not. I'm still using AMD GPU. But then I kept running into problems with controllers, and for the home theater PC, I want to use a controller. It's hooked up to a home theater. That's the main interface thing. Yeah. And so my main one, which is the Scuf, whatever, the professional PC one, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. I would go through the interface to map settings in Steam, and it just wouldn't read the X button at all. Everything, not everything was messed up, but specifically when I would get to the hitting to map, what is the X button? I would hit that button and nothing would map to it.
Is this on an Xbox style X or a PlayStation style X?
This is an Xbox style X.
So it's okay.
So I was like, okay, you know what?
Does it work in Windows?
Well, yes, it works in Windows.
Broken?
It's been working on Bazzite.
Okay.
For the most part, it's been working on all these other distros, so far. And so I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'll concede this is a weird controller for weirdos who like controllers. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to plug in an Xbox controller or a PS5 controller. And I still had mapping issues there. Not only that, and I was just like, why can't I even do this? And so, I started to dig into the documentation. I was like, okay, well, maybe I need to start doing some stuff. So I plugged in the Xbox controller, Steam controller.
Just need a Steam controller, baby.
Yeah. Really, maybe that is the answer when the Steam Controller 2 comes out. This will help solve a lot of the issues. There you go. And so I was like, okay, well, at least the Xbox controller, they even mention it in their documentation of making sure the Xbox wireless controller is updated on Windows, because you can't update it on Linux. It was all updated. I was able to figure out the mapping stuff, but then for some reason it was not outputting audio on that one. And at first, I was trying it wirelessly, and then I did some Googling, and people were like, oh, actually it's a stupid thing with this Elite Series 2 with the dongle that you can't actually pass audio over the dongle. And I was like, well, that's not true in Windows, but okay, whatever.
That's probably some proprietary Microsoft BS. Yeah. If you're doing it Bluetooth, I bet it would work.
Well, but no, Bluetooth neither. So I plugged it straight in. It still wasn't piping out audio. Not even just in the Steam big picture mode, but also at the desktop thing. And so it was just so many things like that. Where I was like, okay, well, at least Bazzite for the most part was, I was able to figure out some of the stuff. So yeah,
have you considered just getting an Xbox? Maybe that's your silly.
No, I want to play my PC games.
No, I'm sorry. You're out of the PC game space. I think you're an Xbox guy now.
I became so frustrated that I just started to dual boot back into my Windows install.
Oh my God.
To finish out Resident Evil Requiem. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go back over to Windows and start doing it there. And I'm not saying Windows is better, but at least it worked, and I knew how to use it, and everything just worked. Yeah. I didn't have to map anything weird. I didn't have to, update any. I had to run driver update stuff, sure, whatever. But I didn't have to look at documentation. I don't know.
Requiem had weird problems for me on Linux. I sent you some screenshots, I think, but it had horrific visual corruption on Linux on the NVIDIA drivers when I was using it. And my guess is that I saw somebody else post that there's a memory leak, so that if you play for too long, eventually the frame rate goes to 0. And
for Resident Evil?
For Resident Evil on Linux. Weird. And it's unfortunate because it's the kind of game that it's a 15-hour game, right? So by the time if you buy it on the launch day, by the time the drivers are updated for Linux to work right with it, you're probably never going to play that game again, or you might revisit it 3 or 4 years from now. so it is like I'm reevaluating my habits when it comes to new release games, and like if it's a day one launch, or especially if it's pre-release, like we were testing. I was testing that Requiem game for a PCWorld video before it was out. Like it was absolutely a Windows thing. I didn't even bother looking at it in Linux because I figured.
Yeah,
it
was working fine on mine, except for the problem that it wasn't showing
the ray tracing stuff, right?
Ray tracing features, which luckily so many people messaged me, and I really appreciate it. And they said, like, I was able to put a flag in there, which was wine detection enabled : false. So that's yeah. So I was able to put that in there.
False wine detection. Yeah, that's obviously the problem.
Yeah. So for some reason, and I was going to ask you, like, why would the developer be in there and be like, oh, hey, you know what? If we detect, we should have it so that if it detects wine is running, we should turn off ray tracing.
It's because what they're doing is they're looking for wine to determine if they should do the Steam Deck settings.
But there's a Steam Deck flag. Steam Deck equals 0.
I know.
Why didn't they use that one?
Capcom. Look, we're just lucky that game runs. Did you not play Monster Hunter? That thing ran at like 8 frames a second.
True. Yeah.
Anyway,
sorry. This is.
You're shook. You seem shook
here today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, this is why we do the podcast. It's you're like some days it's about talking about dubs. Some days it's about hugs. That's what I would say.
You know what?
Dubs and hugs.
While I'm here to BS.
Yeah.
I had to turn off Secure Boot to enable or to put in Ventoy to install Nobara.
Wait, you didn't install your Secure Boot keys for Ventoy? You can.
I had to redo it again.
Oh,
and I was just like, yeah, whatever. So it's just easier to turn off. It is. I totally forget. Like, it is not straightforward to turn off Secure Boot in this motherboard. Like, it's an Asus motherboard. It's like you have to go in there and be like, set it for other OS. Like there's no like, oh, turn Secure Boot off like there is in other systems. Like I've been having to do this for like laptop stuff, and usually it's the toggle is specifically says Secure Boot.
Nope.
In this laptop, it was just like, oh, there's no disable Secure Boot toggle.
CSM,
it's like,
you got to turn on your CSM. You gotta, yeah, no.
Do
you want to put it in Windows mode or other OS mode?
Exactly.
Says.
So it was in Windows mode, and to turn it off, you had to turn it
other
to other OS mode.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's
really stupid. It's bad labeling by Asus.
We've railed against this on the Full Nerd too. Like, the motherboard options just are so convoluted, and it's not just an Asus thing. It's all across the board.
Well, everybody has their own unique set of problems is the thing. Each vendor has their own quirks. It's bad.
Yeah. So that was dumb.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think I'm in a good Secure Boot place on this machine. I don't bother on the laptop or the streaming machine because they're both single boots. So there's no reason.
I mean, like I figured it out on the laptop. My home theater PC was fine with Bazite. I had figured that out. I just turned it off for a second, and I was just like, oh yeah, I forgot just how annoying it is to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. Complaining session over. She needs to get off my chest. Like, it is ultimately fun to try to learn all this stuff, but at the end of the day, especially for the gaming stuff, maybe that's where it's breaking down for me. Is that if it's between me playing a game or me having to futz with issues, I just want to play the game. I just want it to work. I just want to play a video game.
I was gonna say I would love to know what you think about streaming. Like, I would love to see what you think about Moonlight and Sunshine, assuming you set those up on a desktop someplace and pipe that into the living room. Because for me, that really is the best of both worlds, because I don't have to hear the loud computer. There's no fan noise. It's just taking a little light video stream and passing some controller support back. Now, it's definitely... like the microphone headset situation, I don't fool with because I usually use speakers. I don't plug stuff into the controllers, so I don't know what that's like. I feel like when you're doing that, you're in a little bit of an edge case for PC gamers, even though that is, I would describe that as core functionality for the console space that I've been using for the last 10 years. Now, the other thing I'll say is I've been using that Xbox Series S as my Moonlight client lately because it's the beefiest machine I have in the living hooked up to the living room TV, and it is flawless for streaming wired. I don't know about wireless, but on wired it's been fabulous. So highly recommended.
And this does really make me wonder what's going to change with the Steam machine, right? Like Valve does have a lot of weight on their shoulders. I mean, hopefully this thing comes out and it's not a stupid price, but either way, like they're getting into something that a lot of people like I think are probably like looking at and being like, you sure you want to get into that? Is like you're literally trying to make a home theater PC that is just going to run simple like a console. And from what I've been trying to do so far, it has not just been that simple.
But I mean, you're doing it on I mean, look, they have the benefit, they have the Apple benefit, right? Where they're controlling the verticals and the horizontals. They control the hardware and the software. And if you look at like the challenging things that are going to be really hard for somebody building their own machine, like, hey, can you wake up the machine with the controller by pressing the controller button? They do that on the Steam Deck now. If you have your Steam Deck in the dock and you have a controller, a wired controller plugged into it, or like an 8-bit DOE with a 2.4 gigahertz dongle plugged in, you wake up the controller and it wakes up the Steam Deck now and turns on your TV and does the whole thing. So like a lot of that stuff is done, but it's going to be dependent on you having the exact same hardware stack that's in whatever they end up shipping, which is like not realistically what anybody's going to have.
Well, I mean, but I guess I'm also preparing that this thing's going to come out at an elevated price, whatever we think it is.
Yeah, it's going to be $3,000.
It's probably going to be expensive.
It's not going to be $3,000, but it's going to be more expensive than it should be for what the hardware is.
And I just know there's going to be so many people being like, but you could build your own for so much cheaper and so much more powerful. And it's like, yeah, but if they truly make it easy to use and you don't have to worry about all this stuff, I can be like, hey, I've been there. I tried to do this.
That's
on
the
my
trade.
own.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
is
right.
like do you want something that works like a console, or do you want to have to get up and hit the power button on your PC when you turn it on? And like there's no right or wrong answer there. Some people don't care about that.
Yeah.
So like I literally see both sides of this situation, and like I mean I don't know. I just at this point I just want to see what the hardware is and see how it runs and see what that experience is and see how it differs from the PC. And the other thing is we'll see the downstream, like once that stuff hits the repos and starts rolling out, the people that are running Bazite and Nobara and Kashi and all the different distros that do handheld and HTPC setups will start pulling in those changes, and we'll see quality of life improvements filter down, which is how this is supposed to work. So
I really hope so. Yeah.
Like, look, remember I did this 2 years ago. Like this was one of the first things I did when I started contributing to PCWorld was like, hey, can we take a cheap NUC style, little hockey puck mini PC and put. I first tried Hollow ISO, which was a mess. I tried Bazite, which was pretty good, but still flawed in a lot of ways. And I went through a whole bunch of different things before I was like, no, in order to get something that's going to behave as well as a Steam Deck does at HD resolutions, not even 4K resolutions, you're going to spend like $800. There's no reason to do this at this point. And I mean, that was 2024 prices, right? So it wasn't the modern inflated costs. It's a gradual progress. You gotta celebrate those little wins, and yeah, maybe the HTPC is not the right place to be right now. But
yeah,
what you need to do is put it on your desktop for work.
Dude, so that's why, that's why I'm like, man, baby. I'm not there yet. Look, dude, my home desktop that I'm using right now, like
I said this yesterday. Like early on, right after I installed Kashi on my desktop, I jacked up the boot records and Windows wouldn't boot right. And rather than, I panicked, and rather than take the time and fix it, I just reinstalled Windows. And then after I reinstalled Windows, I never took the 3 hours and made Windows like good. Like I didn't do things like I wanted to leave it annoying, right? So I didn't turn off the Bing search in the start menu, and Copilot and OneDrive both pop up and like, hey man, you should consider subscribing. And also you should use me. You can generate bad images and get the computer to lie to you.
Good.
So like every time I boot into Windows, I'm reminded why I do this. And it's been an incredibly powerful thing. So I think you should do the same thing. Just jack up your Windows install, start from scratch, and get in there.
Yeah.
Just
all right. Well,
expose yourself to the raw commercial power of Redmond's greatest OS.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. We'll see. We'll get there. Last thing I do want to note, which is kind of a funny side little thing, and it's back to the Windows stuff. I remember early on you had talked about WinGet, and I had saw an article that popped up on my feed somewhere about the power of WinGet. So I was like, oh, you know what? I should try this WinGet thing. I actually never did. I assumed, funny enough, when you were talking about it, this was an application. Like it is download. Well, but I mean, like you like I did it through the command line. Yeah, I know. But like I thought it was like a graphical application that you go download from some site.
It works like a package manager for Linux. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, wait, WinGet's been here this whole time? It's just like, it's a package. Like, I don't think I would have understood it if I used it before what I know now. So it is kind of funny to understand what a package manager is and then to come back to Windows and be like, oh, it's just a package manager.
So there's multiples, actually. There's Chocolatey. There's one other, I don't remember, maintained by different people. And I think they mostly they have their own repositories that they pull from. But yeah, like WinGet and Chocolatey are how I install. Like when I say, hey, I can reinstall Windows in like 45 minutes and be up and running again, it's because I have a list of packages in a text file that I install with WinGet. So I install Discord and Slack and Notion and like all the fan control, all the stuff that I use on the day-to-day, with the exception of like the three, like I don't install UE like that because that would be insane. But yeah, you can install that stuff with command line utilities, and you can do them all in a sequence, so you don't have to sit there and like manage it the entire way through. It's quite good.
Yeah, it was cool. Like I actually don't remember where I saw that article. I wish I could link to it. But yeah, it was like, oh hey, look, you can do these things with WinGet, and they were like, yeah, like people don't know that this is in there, and yeah, so like easily enough, I was able to run a command to show a list of all the applications. Not only that, I was like, oh sweet, these are applications that for some reason I don't see in the Windows settings, and was like, oh well, I don't need that application anymore. So I was uninstall there. I was even able to update through there. I did get some errors, which I thought were interesting. I'm going to read off a couple notable ones.
A lot of stuff updates automatically. You also have to be careful because there's a lot of stuff in those repos that looks a little that's Mikey, our security expert, would describe it as high risk. So like Microsoft for a while was bad about keeping things that have Discord, the name in the file, from showing up in the Discord search. So you download some, I assume it's not malware because I assume they're scanning it, but like some software that is not Discord that labels itself as Discord that it would install for you and stuff like that. So you do have to kind of keep your eyes peeled when you're doing this, when you're using WinGet.
Well, except for I thought WinGet was actually from Microsoft. Is it not?
It is. It pulls from the Microsoft Store, but there's also just a bunch of spam in the Microsoft Store because it's an app store and it's hard to keep that stuff out. Yeah. Got it. And for the most part, I actually don't install stuff through the Microsoft Store. Nobody sane uses the Microsoft Store.
Yeah, right.
So Chocolatey is a user managed repo that's similar and a little less spammy. It kind of goes back and forth.
Got it. And so yeah, one of the errors was installer hash does not match.
And
so I'm assuming
hash.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that that's one of the situations where it's like, oh, whatever the package is in the Microsoft Store is not the same as what I downloaded from the website. One of them I thought was kind of funny, just the way it was written out. The error said download request status is not success.
So that just means the file's missing that it was looking for, right? That's an amazing error message, though.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's written kind of funny. Okay, funny.
Good job, Microsoft.
And then by default, every time it updated an application, it would reinstall a desktop shortcut.
Oh, I hate that.
And I was like, oh no. All of a sudden on my desktop, I just have all these shortcuts. And I was just like, oh, okay. Well, I'm sure there's a way to maybe turn that off. But
yeah, there's probably a way to have it not create those desktop shortcuts. Because the reason this tool exists is so that like if you're an IT person who manages like a fleet at IBM or something, you can install all the same applications on all the same computers just from a script that runs after the Windows install is complete. And I'm sure they don't want a million desktop shortcuts. Although maybe who cares? Maybe they do. Maybe they put the wallpaper to be the IBM.
Yeah, I don't think IT manager cares. They're like, yeah whatever.
Look, I've often said, if I was an IT manager now and I could change the wallpaper would just be a big picture of me that says, chat bubble that says make good decisions and a thumbs up next to it.
There you go.
Yeah. So just every time they're looking at the desktop, they're seeing me and making good decisions, hopefully.
Love it.
Yeah.
The last little note before we move on is that I had some people reach out to me for help with the Photoshop, old versions of Photoshop. Even somebody specifically was like, "Hey, I have a new in-box copy of CS1.
Ooh, nice and legal.
If you want it." And I was like, you know what? Thank you. I really appreciate it. But I think CS1 is going to be a little too old for what I need in terms of my video editing capabilities. But thank you for everyone who did reach out. So no updates on that, but it's still something I want to look into. And like you said, we might even have something back at
There's absolutely
home base.
some stuff in the storage downstairs, I believe. So.
Yeah. I will say, unfortunately, with this recent news of me becoming a video team of one in our transition period, I'm going to have to start editing videos again. And just because like everything in our workflow so far is through Premiere, and I already know Resolve. I already had been using that years ago. But I haven't edited videos recently, and I was like, okay, well, everything is just set up in Premiere already. I'm probably just gonna be editing in Premiere.
So having done this last week with that the frame timing video that I did, I will say I was able to open the the Premiere projects and pull the assets that I needed out for like the transitions and stuff really easily. The thing I couldn't do was edit like the bottom thirds and all that. I would have to recreate all that stuff. So
yeah. Also, and maybe this has changed in newer versions of Resolve, because once again, I haven't edited in a couple years. We rely a lot on templates, and so it was way harder to create templates in Resolve that apply to every project. So like for Premiere, it's much easier. We literally have a thing where we put everything in, we save it as a template, we copy it, rename it. You know, and we have everything already kind of like set up. Resolve did not have the same thing. It's
definitely better now than it was when I first learned Resolve like 2 years ago.
Okay.
It is not.
I should check it out.
Yeah, it's worth looking at. And I mean, look, here's the time. This is the time to shift your workflows, right? Because it's only you that you have to push.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like it doesn't matter. Like, you know, I think templates and stuff like that are just for ease of use, and you can import Photoshop files into Resolve, all that kind of stuff. So it's not a huge deal. Like I'm not worried about it, but to at least start it up right now and just make sure the greases are or the gears are greased, and we continue to release these podcasts on time, I'm just going to use Premiere.
Yeah. So. I mean, look, get the work done and then do the change, right? That's the MO the entire time.
Yeah. So anyway, let's move on to homework and get out of here. So what kind of homework stuff you got?
So I've started getting that login keyring isn't unlocked when I logged into Neri error again. I feel like I've had this before and I fixed it, and I don't remember exactly how I fixed it. So I got to dig back into past me notes and solve that. I think that the solution is that you just set the password for the GNOME keyring or whatever keyring Neri uses to nothing, and then. Because the thing is, I don't really use the keyring for anything. I use 1Password for my password management, and the keyring is just to keep other things like OS stuff. Anyway, that's one thing. My AIO isn't showing a cooler control even with the liquid control changes that I submitted, and I've done a little bit of digging into that. It seems like the cooler control people maybe don't like the SUSE Ryujin module for reasons that are related to do with like driver stability or something. I got to dig into why they don't support that. They might want the same hardware in HWMon, which tends to pull. My understanding is that the HWMon folks pull their changes from Liquid Control. So like when Liquid Control adds support for something, it then in a downstream version of HWMon will get updated. And that may be the way into cooler control, but I'm going to dig into that a little bit and see if I can learn a little bit more. Maybe do a little more pull requesting.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, it can contribute to cooler control.
Yeah. I got to figure out the Stream PC situation and decide if I'm even going to bother. And then I had a dark thought while you were talking about making distros that like, what if, because a thing that doesn't exist as far as I can tell is an opinionated distro for people who have a second for streaming PCs. Like why isn't there an appliance distro for streaming PC folks? Adam's making a real
hold on, Will. Hold on.
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything.
Hold on. You went from getting your first pull request to now you're like, what if I create WillOS?
I didn't say WillOS. What I said was
an opinionated distro.
I want to look to see if this exists because I haven't actually searched for it, and I'm curious because I bet that somebody's done this work. Because the problem with streaming on Linux is that people pull out different parts of OBS because they're unstable or have weird dependencies. Like Arch doesn't have support for the browser plugin in there, so you can't have a browser source, which it turns out is incredibly important for almost every OBS workflow, right? Ubuntu didn't have support for the VLC plugin, which lets you play a playlist of videos in OBS, another incredibly important piece of content. So what I'm saying is this has to exist, right? And if it doesn't, why not?
And if it doesn't, this is how Dual Boot Diaries ends. We end with Will creating his own.
WillOS.
Yeah. Well, you got to call it WillOS.
No, I'm not going to call it WillOS. I might call it Willow, WILLOWS.
Hold on. I don't. I'm going to search for WillOS.
Oh no, that's not going to give you what you want.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to add operating system.
But here's the thing: it's a relatively simple set of dependencies. You could strip out a bunch of nonsense. So you need like a terminal, you need OBS, you need some bots like StreamerBot and the stuff that you use to run that, and then there's some other bots that you could potentially put on there. You need the audio infrastructure, and that's kind of it. You need drivers. You need drivers for Hardware Excel, for OBS. And that's kind of it. It's really straightforward. Even a baby could do it.
Okay, well, real quick, I did search for WillOS.
Yeah.
There is a GitHub page for WillOS, but actually when you like scroll down and look at I'll just send this to you. When you get down and look, it's actually called TeencyOS. So I don't know if this is if WillOS might be open. This might be your chance.
TeencyOS is the thing that runs the Teensy microcontrollers.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's on some guy William Redenbog /WillOS. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think you should do it.
I don't think this is a good idea. Just to be clear,
I think we know somebody to call up. And if we call the final boss, no, we call the final boss again. Wendell, yes, thank you.
Yeah,
Wendell from Level 1 Techs, and be like, hey, listen, do you remember Dual Boot Diaries?
Yeah,
Will's ready to make his own distro. Wendell would be like, let's go.
This is a Wendell. Like, look. So part of why I'm saying this out loud.
Oh, it's because you want somebody else to do it.
I'm hoping that I can instantiate it into the world without having.
Or you could be the face of it. You could be the Steve Jobs, and you need the other guy.
I need a turtleneck. Yeah, I need somebody to do the work while I'm the face man. That's perfect.
Exactly.
That's exactly what I'm looking for.
There you go. Boom. Yeah. Sorry, I got it. What's the other guy's name?
Wozniak. Steve Wozniak.
Steve Wozniak.
Yeah.
There you go.
Delightful human being, Steve Wozniak. He comes to the flea market sometimes. We've seen him tromping around the flea market. By the way, for folks who are new here, I don't think we were doing this when the flea market was running last year.
We were not. Well,
maybe we just started.
I can't remember.
So if you are near the Bay Area and you would like to come look at some old cool electronic stuff, it's the second Saturday this year. They moved it to Saturdays, I think, because it used to be second Sunday, and they moved it to Saturdays because that interferes with Mother's and Father's Day, and it was causing strife. But that means on, I think, the 14th of September in Saratoga. A week from Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah, in Saratoga, California, at the community college, you can go to search for this San Francisco Bay Area Electronics Flea Market, and you'll get a page. People, it's I think you described it when we met the first time. It was like all the crap that people stole from their offices when they quit 20 years ago and now need to clean out of their garage. So it's a bunch of old electronic stuff. We've seen like old Apple IIs and Commodores and Amigas. I've seen some Sun workstations. I've seen SGI machines. I've seen Next Cubes. There's usually at least one or two booths that are full of, I would say, Elena compatible laptops that still have a lot of life in them. So like 5+ year old laptops that are still quite good. It's a fun time. So, and we'll be tromping around on the 14th. Barring.
I definitely want to go. Yeah. You've always told me the very first one of the year, which this is always a banger because people have been building up stuff.
People have been storing stuff all winter. So it only runs in the spring to fall. So like first one is in March, the last one's in September, and then they take a few months off when the rainy season comes. But get there early. It's like starts at 6:30 in the morning or something like that, and like it'll be completely cleared out by like 11 or 11:30. So
it's not that bad.
No. I mean, look, it's fine.
It's not that clear.
If you're hunting for gems, you want to be there right when it opens. Also, they have donuts and coffee, and that I think it's run by the Bay Area Ham Club or something. And the donuts and coffee are a fundraiser for them.
Ham radio,
not
just ham hocks.
I mean, look, if they had ham there, if they had like a fancy Spanish ham, I would pay money for some sliced ham.
A jamon.
Yeah.
Anyway. I'm going to. Well, first off, I still want to poke around, try to find an older version of Photoshop.
Not CS1 old though. You're looking for like
CS1's just a little too old. I think the last one before they moved over to Creative Cloud or the subscription based thing was CS6. I think
seems right.
That
would be like 15 years old at this point. I think, right?
I don't know.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah. So, also, my homework is going to be a little light. I'm dealing with some other stuff. I don't have a ton of extra free time to futz around with, but I'm trying. So for the most part, it's maintained. Really, the big one for me is I need to figure out what to do with that home theater PC. Do I continue to push forward and try to figure out my Nobara issues, or do I go back to Bazite? Because I did have Bazite essentially working the way I wanted to. So yeah, I don't know.
Did you overwrite that, or did you the Bazite install, or did you put it on a different SSD?
I burned it. I nuked it from the sun. I mean, listen, to get back to where I was, not hard at all.
Okay,
luckily, I mean, we've got documentation. Like, I didn't really change that much. For the most part, it's just re-signing in, re-downloading games, making sure the audio thing is set, and lacked. Like those were essentially the major things that I had futzed around with on there. And really, honestly, I don't even necessarily need lacked to get up and running. That was just to manage fan speeds and stuff like that. So
you don't want to
really,
like
it's more like really it's more the audio stuff and then just re-downloading games. So it wouldn't be hard for me to just go back to Bazite and just be like, you know what? That's working fine for me, and trying to power through there. So we'll see. I know. I should have just put a different SSD in there.
I mean, look, what does an SSD cost now? It's got to be like thousands of dollars. So who has spares laying around, right? Like
I mean, we do have some spares, but
okay.
Anyway, let's call it for the show.
Yeah.
Check back next week for your fix of Linux talk here on Dual Boot Diaries. If you want to watch the video version of this, we have this over on the Full Nerd Network, which is PCWorld's network of podcasts that we have. We got the Full Nerd over there. We got Expedition Handheld now, if you're into handheld gaming and a big fan of Russ from Retro Game Core. You definitely are going to be there for him. And so right now, I think we're going to do, just heads up, we're going to do a little bit of a scheduling change. We've been posting these on Fridays. But now we have the Full Nerd, which happens on Tuesdays, and Expedition Handheld is going live on Saturdays, at least for now. I think within the next couple of weeks, we will move to releasing Dual Boot Diaries on Thursdays, just to pace things out a little bit. And I know not everyone watches all the shows, but maybe give just a little breather between each one of them for the people who do. So yeah, we're not doing it quite yet. I just want to give people a heads up. Maybe next week we'll do it at the start of the show to catch people. But then also we're moving to recording Dual Boot Diaries on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
And so rather than waiting to release it on Friday, we're going to move it to Thursday just to help, make sure that it's still fresh information.
Yeah. I mean, that's the big thing for me is we don't want to, like, we had talked about recording upcoming week, like a week ahead, basically, which feels, we didn't want to do that because the conversation with the audience has been really helpful with this show. And it becomes difficult to manage when we're like, okay, are we talking about this week's episode or next week's episode? And like, anyway.
That's what happened early on. We batched a bunch because I was traveling. So. Yeah.
But yeah. So
anyway,
So essentially the podcast doesn't change. It's just releasing a day earlier.
No. Yeah.
You can still listen on Friday if you want, though. We're not going to tell you not to.
Yeah. And speaking of listening, if you want to listen to us anywhere, we are on all the places that RSS feeds will point to. Mm-hmm. I have been working on the back end to get the video version also up on the RSS feeds. Ooh. Some people have been asking for the video version because Spotify will give you the video version. Apple Podcasts is now making some changes. You used to have two separate RSS feeds, one for video, one for audio. Now you can link those together and just have the option to get one or the other. So we have to enable that on our back end. I'm trying to get that sorted through some stuff. So if you want it, let me know. Maybe it's something nobody wants, and maybe I just don't get around to it. But let me know if you want the video version on other places other than YouTube.
If I ever do the Car Talk show, that's fantastic to know. I didn't know that was a possibility.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't want to watch on YouTube, or a lot of people want to have just a way to download the video version.
Offline
of the podcast.
video is convenient. It turns out
exactly. Yeah, so I think. Like even if it's a small fraction of people who want it, I still think it's worth doing. And honestly, it's not that hard on the back end once we get it enabled in our manager kind of thing. So
cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I want to get into it. And then if you want to contribute to the community, we have a lovely Discord full of people right now. There's a link down in the description to get into the Full Nerd Network Discord. We have a Linux channel over there. We have a forum where you can submit your own Linux problems and people will chat in there. And then we do have a question channel called DBD_questions a little further down. And if you have a specific question that you want us to answer on the show, then get it in there, post it in there. And I think what we're going to end up doing is having questions become like something we do maybe once a week. We'll do a whole questions episode or something like that.
Once a month, you mean?
Or I'm sorry, once a month. So,
I think
we'll figure it out.
Like doing it on the reg though seems like a good idea because we're getting a lot of good questions and I mean also I'm reaching a point where the problems I'm having are probably not like maybe we just do a question or two every week too is the other way to do it. It's getting easier with like some big giant lumps in what's easier, I guess. Sometimes it's not easier. Sometimes it's much, much harder. But anyway.
True. All right. Well, anyway, thanks everybody. I appreciate it. And thank you, Will.
Hey, thank you, Adam. This has been great. Hey, I think you're doing a good job. I know this has been a hard week, but I think what you need to do, you need to go out there. You need to put your game face on. You need to put on your big boy pants. You need to
buy those first.
You need to straighten up. You need to fly right. You need to, I think you need a reset. I think you need to try a new distro. I think you need to, yeah.
There you go.
I'm giving you permission. I think you should.
You got a new distro from my home theater PC?
Yeah. Just.
Is it called WillOS?
No, not yet. That's for the streaming PC. We'll do that in the office and destroy the full nerd.
There you go. Boom.
But yeah, no, I think you're doing good. I think you buck up, kiddo. You're doing okay. You're gonna get there. We all have these ups and downs. Like I was literally there around the first of the year. Like I was feeling bad about this whole project, and like all it takes is 1 week of like everything not going your way. You need those little wins. You need to find something that's going to give you a little win. That's what I'm going to say. And you're going to get there. I believe in you, man.
All right.
I have the faith.
I appreciate it. And I appreciate everyone out there. We will catch you in the next episode. See you later. Bye.
Bye, everybody.